There are countless reasons why you could or should start working as an IT recruiter. For example, the money, so the commissions and bonuses you can earn, or the opportunity to work remotely for any company around the globe. However, there are also lots of reasons why you should not become a tech recruiter. So that's precisely what I would like to talk about in today's video. Some people say IT recruitment is the hardest job ever. I wonder if everyone thinks this about their occupation. It's really hard because a recruiter needs to work with people, with colleagues and candidates, as well as understand the IT terminology, which itself is really challenging, right? It's always evolving. There are always new terminologies, always new frameworks, new languages, new tools that IT candidates use. And last week, we onboarded a few colleagues, a few recruiters who joined our team, and they will start working for our international clients. And during the initial kickoff, I usually ask why they joined. What was the reason? What was their motivation? And it's really interesting to see why do people decide to join the IT recruitment industry or market or job. Some of these new colleagues joined because they were following me for some time. They were part of my newsletter and they saw this as a great opportunity to level up their career. Others wanted to start working for international clients, and that's also great, right? This is exactly it. But I can tell you there are also these few reasons why not to start your career in IT recruitment. So I would start with the very first one. So if you don't like to learn, then it will be really challenging for you. Because in IT, everything is changing. The new programming languages or frameworks pop up, as well as tools. So you need to keep track of all these changes, because hiring managers are looking for candidates who can use those latest and greatest tools. So 1 month you may be looking for a React front-end developer, and the next month you may be looking for a Next.js developer, which is another framework built on top of React. So again, something cool and hip and modern. And especially at the beginning, it's important to lay down solid foundation. So when I was consulting for all these recruitment agencies, some of the really famous ones, I was onboarding their recruitment teams. I always put extra pressure or extra effort in making sure those recruiters understand the basics. So think of the IT vocabulary, think of the common programming languages, think of the frameworks, but even the software development lifecycle, some of these methodologies like Agile or Scrum. And of course, we go a little further and we discuss what are the common roles, for example, in Scrum teams. Because as a recruiter, you may be looking for a Scrum Master or a product owner next month. So you need to know how does it all fit together, right? The software development lifecycle, which means what is usually done and when, what are the typical stages, and then who does what. So say at the beginning of the project is an analysis or business requirement gathering. So who does it? It's not developers, it's a business analyst or system analysts or product owners, right? So all these roles you need to be able to somehow describe, at least in your mind, right? To have it somehow well structured, so you understand who does what in the IT team. And you just need to learn this. If you have never worked in IT, then the only way for you to understand who does what is to learn it step by step. Well, in my case, I worked in IT for about 15 years. So a lot of these languages or frameworks or just the overall IT vocabulary is somehow somehow, subconscious, just because I've been living it every day, right? But if you are just transitioning from non-IT recruitment or from generic HR, then you just need to learn it. And please don't skip this step, because I've seen lots of recruiters who tried to jump from very little knowledge to recruiting DevOps engineers, which is, by the way, the most difficult probably, right? Together with cybersecurity developers. Well, anyway, so a lot of recruiters tend to skip the basics and jump on the most difficult topic, which doesn't work. Sooner or later you will get frustrated, as well as lots of those recruiters I've worked with while I was consulting for those recruitment agencies. Okay, so I want you not to make this mistake. Don't go to become an IT recruiter if you don't like to learn. That's the step number one, because you will have to learn no matter what. Otherwise, you will not be a successful IT recruiter. The second reason why not to become an IT recruiter is if you don't care about your candidates. If you cannot care less about people out there, then probably not a good fit. Because as a recruiter, you will be finding a new career for people, for IT professionals. So you need to care at least a bit about what's going on, right? Because otherwise you cannot serve them. So, start thinking about recruitment as customer service. You are serving these customers. The customers are your clients as well as candidates. You are looking for a new career, for a new job for these candidates. So make sure you care about them. If you cannot care less, then don't become an IT recruiter. Number 3, if you don't like repetitive tasks. In recruitment, not only in IT recruitment, but in recruitment, there are clear processes. The activities are very straightforward. You will need to source candidates, you will need to screen incoming candidates, you will need to organize interviews, you will need to introduce candidates to your clients. And that's pretty much it. Simplified recruitment 101, these few activities will need to happen. You may need to build up your talent pool on top of it or whatnot, but this will take probably 80% of your time if you are a full cycle end-to-end recruiter. So a lot of these activities will repeat every day. You will need to source candidates every day. And I know people, recruiters, who have a block in their calendar scheduled for 2 or 3 hours in the morning, every morning, to source candidates. And then in the afternoon, they either have interviews with candidates or they screen incoming CVs. So you will have to go through all this every day, day by day, every day, day by day, which is great if you like this kind of work that repeats. It's predictable and you can improve a little every day, every week. That's great. That will be a great fit. However, if you are just scared of this idea, then it will not be the best fit for you. Number 4, I would say, if you do not enjoy analyzing data, if you do not enjoy tracking KPIs, and I don't mean any crazy analytical reports, but I mean just basics. You look at your recruitment funnel and you will analyze how many new candidates you have, how many of them have you screened, how many of them have you rejected, how many of these candidates were interviewed and introduced to the CTO. And you should know these numbers because your managers will ask. Or if you are an independent freelance recruiter, well then you should know, so you can evaluate and improve your performance. So if you don't like this, or if you are the kind of person who is like, oh, I'm not this kind of numbers person. I don't want anyone to look at my numbers. I just want to do something creative. Then this may not be the best job for you, because recruitment is like sales. you just need to do these activities and a percentage of candidates will be hired. It's just a question, what is the percentage? Same as with sales, a percentage of those potential clients you reach out to will purchase the product or service. It will be probably 1% or 2% or maybe 3%, who knows? But you need to know that you reached out to 1,000 customers or candidates in this case of IT recruitment, and eventually a few of them are hired by the client and you get the commission, the well-deserved commission. But if you don't enjoy looking at the numbers, if you don't really believe in data analysis, then this job may not be the best fit for you. And look, I could continue a little further, so we can also look at the job of the recruiter and all those individual tasks. So for example, as a full end-to-end recruiter, you will need to source candidates. So if you are like, gosh, I don't want to source candidates, I don't want to go through LinkedIn or GitHub, I don't want to create a database of candidates, well then probably the job of the full cycle end-to-end recruiter will not be the best fit, because it's something you have to do, right? The sourcing, you have to source candidates. Otherwise, you may be a great IT recruiter who can screen candidates really well, but you will have no candidates to screen unless you work with some other sourcer who will bring those candidates to your pipeline. And similarly, if you don't really enjoy interacting with candidates, if you don't like calling, if you don't like, I'm not even saying cold calling, but calling to people who already expect your call, if you don't want to even have a video call with potential candidates, then also this job may not be the best fit for you, because you may have a great potential candidate, but if you cannot close him, if you cannot get him excited, if you cannot screen his resume and identify if he is a good fit or not, then you will not have any placement at the end of the month. Okay, so there are a few ways how to mitigate some of these, say, preferences, personal preferences. For example, you can pair yourself with another person who has complementary skill set, so that can be done. For example, as I mentioned with sourcing, if you don't want to do sourcing, you can get someone else who does sourcing. But you just have to be mindful about this. You need to start thinking about your core strengths and how can you match these strengths of yours with someone else's strengths, so you fit together like a piece of puzzle, right? So there could be two of you, one sourcer and you could be the screener, or you could be the sourcer and someone else is the screener, someone who is eventually interacting with candidates and clients. Okay, so if you don't like sourcing or screening, that's still okay. You can become a recruiter, although probably not the end-to-end recruiter who does it all, but you can still become a sourcer or a screener in some of the recruitment agencies, like ours, for example. We hire new colleagues, we hire people who would like to specialize in some of these areas. So as I mentioned before, this IT recruitment position is in general not a good fit if you don't want to learn, because you will just have to learn about IT, about the processes, about candidates. You will have to learn a lot. Also, if you are not interested in helping candidates get a new job, if you don't care about candidates, well then, find some other job, become a cook or whatever. And if you don't enjoy repetitive tasks, then also probably not the best fit for you. However, if you see yourself as a sourcer or a screener, or you would like to experiment in one of those roles and get paired with someone, we can totally arrange this, because I work with lots of sourcers and screeners and messengers. In our company, we have a team of people who work on different positions. So that's why we can pair you easily with someone who has complementary skill set. Okay, so you can just go to recruitinstantly.com and fill in a simple form. You can watch a video about some of these opportunities. You can learn a little more about what it takes to become a sourcer or a screener or a full end-to-end recruiter. So just go to recruitinstantly.com and fill in the form so we can talk.